Must watch. A woman will do this when you stop talking to her. Old Stoic wisdom. Silence is a source of great strength. Lao Tzu. Let's get one thing clear. Silence is one of the most potent tools at your disposal as a man. In today's world, where everyone seems to crave constant attention and validation, your ability to remain silent can shift the entire power dynamic in a relationship. The moment you stop engaging with a woman, whether it's because she's lost interest, played games, disrespected you, or simply assumed you'd never leave, things change in ways she won't expect. Most men fail to grasp the true power of silence. They may think it's just a reaction, a simple withdrawal, but it's far more profound than that. When you stop speaking, especially after having been consistent, you disrupt the emotional balance. You stop feeding her ego. You stop being predictable. And most importantly, you stop providing her with that never-ending supply of attention she thought she could always rely on. So what happens next? She reacts, maybe not immediately, and maybe not in the way you'd expect. But a woman will always respond when a man, especially one of high value who isn't desperate for her attention, suddenly steps back, whether it's confusion, curiosity, regret, or even panic. She will feel it. This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding the psychological shift that takes place when you step back, not out of weakness, but because you've finally recognized your worth. In this video, we're going to break down the 7 stages that show what a woman will do when you stop talking to her. Some of it may surprise you, and some may confirm what you've already noticed. By the end of this, you'll stop questioning the power of your silence and learn to embrace it confidently, as a man who knows his value. 1. She tries to trigger you. When you stop talking to her, particularly if you were once consistently engaging, you're going to see something that most men aren't ready for. She doesn't just move on with her life. Oh no, she feels it, deeply. For a woman who's used to having control over your emotions, your sudden silence strikes at the very core of her stability. She'll feel the shift in power, but won't always show it openly. Instead, she'll try to get a reaction out of you. How does she do this? With subtle triggers designed to mess with your mind. You might notice her posting pictures she never used to, more revealing, more carefree, maybe even more directed at a public audience. She won't tag you, mention you, or even acknowledge you, but make no mistake, she's sending a clear message. She wants you to see it. She's trying to provoke a response, to pull you out of your silence. Why? Because when you were engaging with her, you were feeding her need for validation. You were giving her control over your emotions, and the moment you stop, she loses that grip. The only way for her to get it back to trigger you, to bring you back into her orbit. Now, here's the critical point. This behavior only happens when she still has an emotional attachment. If she didn't care about you at all, she wouldn't bother trying to provoke you in the first place. But when she starts posting cryptic quotes, showing off her sudden, unshakable confidence, or trying to make you jealous, she's playing a dangerous game. This isn't an attempt to reconnect on a deeper, honest level. It's a power move. She's trying to wake you up from your silence, not because she wants you back emotionally, but because she needs to regain control. Men who aren't aware of these games often fall straight into her trap. They break their silence. They call. They message. They confront her about the posts or demand answers. And just like that, she wins. The moment you react, you've handed her the reins again. Your silence, which was meant to assert your own emotional strength, is now perceived as weakness. But if you hold your ground, if you don't engage, if you don't allow her to bait you into a reaction, her plan starts to unravel. The emotional leverage she once had begins to slip away. She'll start questioning, why isn't he reacting? Has he really moved on? Did he stop caring? That's when the power shifts. Now, she's emotionally chasing. Your silence, which she thought was weakness, has suddenly become a force she cannot control. She's no longer the one with power. Now she's the one desperately seeking clarity. This discomfort she feels, it's the anxiety of losing control, something most women despise. They crave emotional stability, being in control of their feelings. But your silence makes that impossible. It forces her to confront the uncertainty she's trying to avoid. This is where the true test lies. Her first move when you go silent isn't sincere. It's about testing your emotional discipline. If you hold firm, if you stay true to the Stoic principles of emotional control, you've passed the test. That's when the real power dynamic shifts, and everything that comes afterward becomes genuine. But if you cave, if you break and give her the attention she hasn't earned, you're back in the same cycle, giving her the emotional control that you've just lost. This is old Stoic wisdom in action. True strength lies in the ability to maintain composure under emotional pressure. You must possess an iron mind, unyielding, unmoved by the external forces of her manipulation. Your silence, your emotional control, your ability to stick to your principles, this is where the true power lies. And when you master this, when you follow the old Stoic wisdom and hold your ground, you'll see that the tables turn in your favor. No longer will she control your emotional state. No longer will she manipulate your reactions. She will begin to question herself instead, because you are no longer playing her game. Now, you're the one with the control. And that, my friend, is the power of an iron mind and the essence of Stoic principles. 2. She questions her value. When you stop talking to a woman, you strike a deep chord within her, one that forces her to confront the realities she's long avoided. This isn't about just pulling away, it's about taking away her foundation, something she has relied on to feel seen, desired, and valued. In the world of relationships, men have been conditioned to think that constant communication, reassurance, and availability are the pillars of attraction and security. Yet, true strength lies in silence. When you stop engaging, you create space, a space that she will inevitably fill with doubt and self-reflection. Women are no strangers to self-doubt, but when a man stops reaching out, stops trying to reassure her, it challenges her perception of herself. The question begins, why isn't he reaching out? What did I do wrong? Did I lose him? It's not always about you. It's about her internal battle to reconcile her value with the change in your behavior. This is where the paths of wisdom begin to illuminate the truth. The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it, said Epictetus. Women begin to question their worth only when the value they placed in their relationship starts to waver. If you were the type of man who constantly reached out, offered compliments, or acted the part of the always available lover, your silence will send shockwaves through her world. She's used to being chased, to being pursued relentlessly, and now she's faced with a reality that forces her to take a hard look in the mirror. The absence of your attention, your silence, ignites something deep. She may keep up the facade, smiling in photos, acting like everything is fine, but internally, she's battling a war within herself, one that revolves around her worth, her value in your eyes. When you stop talking, when you go silent without an explanation, you make her reflect. This isn't just about the relationship anymore. It becomes about her self-esteem, her identity, and her place in the world. She will wonder if she's lost her hold on you, if she is not enough. The silence gives her room to question everything. This is where the paths of wisdom become crucial. The absence of words, the very silence you've imposed, forces her to reckon with the fact that maybe, just maybe, you've leveled up. Maybe you've come to realize your own worth, and you're no longer willing to tolerate disrespect or mere breadcrumbs. This is where the transformation begins. This is when she realizes, consciously or subconsciously, that something has changed in you. She may act like she doesn't care, no messages, no calls, but behind the scenes, she'll likely start checking your social media. She'll watch your stories, examine the people you interact with, or even approach your mutual friends in an attempt to gauge your emotional state. The silence makes her vulnerable in a way she cannot admit. It's not about weakness. It's about pride. Her pride in herself. Her pride in holding on to the relationship. But beneath the surface, there's a deeper fear that she might have lost a man who once cared. At this point, you must be resolute. You cannot let her discomfort make you falter. Many men, sensing her regret or discomfort, would quickly break their silence to reassure her. Don't make this mistake. If she's questioning her value because you've reclaimed yours, let her sit in that discomfort. Let her experience the consequences of your absence. This is where true respect begins. It is in her moment of doubt that she starts comparing you to other men. And here's the truth. Most men won't measure up. A man who can walk away with strength, who refuses to chase or beg, sets an entirely new standard. After you, she will never look at another man the same way. They will be too eager, too weak, too willing to please. Your silence, your strength, will linger in her mind. It will change how she sees not just you, but herself. She may act like she's indifferent, but deep down, she's reviewing her self-worth. She's reevaluating what it means to be loved, to be respected. She's forced to confront her own insecurities and question whether she's truly worthy of the man who once pursued her. This is the beginning of a shift. This is the beginning of mastery over her emotions. And remember, when you stay silent, you don't just win her respect. You win mastery over your own life. You embody the Stoic wisdom of Epictetus, who said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." By choosing silence, you choose power. You choose control. You choose the path of wisdom. Don't falter. Don't fall back. Let her question her value. Let her feel what it means to lose your attention. And in that space, you'll win. Win her respect, win her admiration, and most importantly, win yourself. If you found this valuable, don't forget to like, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit from this insight. Also, make sure to subscribe for more wisdom on relationships and personal growth. Comment to remember. By reclaiming my value, I set new standards. This positive affirmation matches the core idea of the content, encouraging viewers to reflect on their own self-worth and growth. 3. She tries to reconnect casually. When you choose silence, it sends a powerful message, one that ripples through a woman's emotions. After she's questioned her own value and felt the weight of your absence, the next move she'll make is to try and casually slide back into your life. And let's be clear that word casually is key. There won't be any grand apology or heartfelt admission of guilt. Instead, what you'll get is something light, subtle, and low risk. It'll be a harmless comment, something that won't expose her too much. The reason for this is simple. She's not looking to be vulnerable, not unless she's certain that you're still emotionally available. She's trying to assess whether or not you're still open to her, whether you've truly moved on or not. In other words, she's testing the waters. So she might send you a random text. "Hey, did you see that show we used to watch has a new season?" Or maybe, "Hey, I just saw someone who looks like you? LAL?" Or perhaps something as simple as, "Hey, hope you're good?" At first glance, it seems innocent, right? No pressure, no drama, just a simple, friendly check-in, but don't be fooled. Beneath that surface-level contact is a calculated move. She's not just being friendly or casual, she's measuring the temperature of your emotions. She's checking to see if the door is still open for her. Here's the thing, many men fall into a trap at this stage. They misread the situation. This stage is tricky because it taps into your emotional side. You may miss her, still care about her, or even wonder if this small reach out means something deeper. And let's be honest, when she reaches out, part of you feels validated. You feel like, yes, my silence worked. She's reaching out. She's thinking about me. But here's where the mistake lies. If you respond too quickly, too eagerly, or emotionally, you're giving her the control back. You've let the power shift from you right back to her. Don't make this mistake. If you respond instantly or engage in small talk, you've sent a clear message. Your silence was just a phase, not a shift in your standards. You're still emotionally available. You're still hooked. So, what does this casual outreach really mean? It's not an invitation to reconnect. It's not a sign she's changed or seen the error of her ways. It's her way of finding out if you're still emotionally tied to her. She wants to know, are you still the guy who can't resist even the smallest bit of attention from her? And let's be real, a woman who's been used to being chased, used to a man who gives her attention without her having to earn it, will push boundaries to see if that's still the case. She's testing you to see if you've truly moved on, or if she can slip back into your life without any effort. This is where the Stoic rules come into play. The temptation is to fall back into old habits. You might feel a tug to respond right away, to satisfy your own ego or emotional need. But this is where you need to be strong. Silence, when wielded properly, is a powerful tool. If you want to maintain control, to show that you've evolved, that you've grown, you need to stand firm. If you reply instantly, emotionally, or eagerly, you signal that nothing has changed, that you are still the same man who would drop everything at the smallest hint of attention from her. That's not the message you want to send. Instead, respond with calm, limited energy. Take your time, let her feel the difference. When you don't immediately respond, you send a clear signal. I'm not where I was when you left me. You're not waiting around for her. You're not desperate for her attention. You've grown, and that's exactly what you want her to see. You want her to understand that you've leveled up, that you've taken control of your life. This is a perfect example of practical stoicism. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." You're not ruled by your emotions or impulses. You are the master of your own behaviour, and that is what women respect. Now, let's be clear. If you fail to hold the line, if you give in to her casual attempts to reconnect, you've lost. Women can sense weakness, and when you respond too quickly or too emotionally, she knows she has the power again. She'll know she can still pull you back into her orbit with just a few words. This is the trap many men fall into. They see the text, and they mistake it for an invitation to reconnect. They think it's a sign she's ready to change, ready to commit. But it's not. It's a test. And the way you respond determines everything. If you let your silence stand, if you take your time, she has to face the truth that you've changed. You've grown. You're no longer the man who will drop everything for her. You've reclaimed your own power, and that is a hard truth for her to swallow. And when she sees that your silence has truly shifted something in you, when she sees that you are no longer desperate for her attention, she'll have to decide what to do next. Some women, when they realize they can't pull you back in with a casual text, will retreat into silence themselves, but others will double down, pushing harder. They might send more personal messages, voice notes, or even reminisce about past memories. They'll try to draw you back into the emotional space where they felt admired and safe. But you must resist. If a woman truly wants to reconnect with you, it won't be through small talk or casual check-ins. It will come with effort, with clarity, and with accountability. Anything less is just emotional fishing. Don't let her drag you back into that space where she controls the narrative. You didn't go silent just to start over from scratch. You went silent to protect your value, to regain your self-worth, and to remind yourself and her that you don't need to chase anyone to prove your worth. Stand your ground. Let her test the waters. Don't fall for the trap of thinking her casual outreach means something more. If she's really serious about reconnecting, she'll come to you with clarity, purpose, and accountability. Until then, Stoic rules apply. Let her come to you. Don't be so thirsty for her presence that you lose your position. You didn't go silent to be available to anyone who snaps their fingers. You went silent to regain control of your life, to remind yourself of your own power. Hold that power. Let her see the difference between you and the other men who might eagerly fall into her trap. You didn't go silent to lose your value. You went silent to protect it. Stay strong. Stay grounded. Let her reach out. Let her test the waters. But don't give her the power to flip the dynamic back to her favour. You've learned the lesson of practical stoicism, and now you must live it. 4. She acts like she doesn't care. When a woman stops getting the reaction she expects from you, she might shift gears and start pretending like she doesn't care. After sending that casual message, hoping you'd bite, or questioning her worth to provoke a response, many women choose this strategy. Why? It's the pride kicking in. But don't be fooled. This is not her being truly unaffected. No, this is a woman trying to protect her ego. Behind the cold exterior, there's an emotional battle happening. She's been ignored. and her pride has taken a hit from the man she thought she had completely under control. To mask her vulnerability, she plays a part, a performance to convince you that she's just fine without you. Now, watch carefully. This I don't care act might show up in all kinds of ways. She might post selfies, decked out in her new outfits, dripping with more makeup and a falsely exaggerated smile. She might suddenly become social, tagging places you've both been before, dropping quotes like healing in silence or unbothered energy only. But don't mistake these actions as random. This is her way of speaking directly to you without uttering a single word. She's hoping you'll believe she's fine, unaffected, and moving on. But in reality, she's trying to take back control. She wants you to think you're the one losing, the one who should be chasing, the one who regrets. But here's where most men falter. This is when the iron mind you need most is tested. If you're emotionally weak, you'll mistake this act for her having truly moved on. You'll second-guess everything. You'll start doubting your place in her life. And that's when the worst thing you can do happens. You break the silence. You feel the need to explain yourself, to tell her that you didn't mean to hurt her, to reassure her of your intentions. That's when the power of your silence evaporates. She wins, simply because you let your own insecurity take the lead. Your silence once held weight, but once you reached out, trying to explain yourself, you gave her the control back. Here's what you must understand. Her act of indifference is nothing more than a defense mechanism. Women don't want to appear weak, and silence unsettles them. So, they turn the script around and act like it doesn't affect them at all. It's not that she doesn't care. It's that she's trying to make you believe you're the one losing. The truth, deep down, her projection of being unaffected is hollow. Behind the facade, her actions betray her every time. She posts those pictures, but she checks to see if you saw them. She goes out with friends, but she's still monitoring your status updates. She pretends to be indifferent, but her actions scream the opposite. This is the Stoic principle at play. She's putting up a front because she's trying to shield herself from the uncomfortable feelings of being ignored. But let me make something clear. Not every woman who goes silent still has feelings for you. Some are truly indifferent. But if she's going out of her way to show she doesn't care, then pay attention. That's not indifference. Real indifference doesn't perform for attention. If she really didn't care, she wouldn't be trying so hard to catch your eye. But her effort to maintain this act speaks volumes about what's really going on inside. So, what's the best response to this game of silent acting? Don't get caught up in it. Stay silent. Stay calm. Protect your peace. Your silence holds more power than you realize. Let her play her game. Let her put on the show. But don't fall for the illusion. You're not there to chase after something that isn't real. You're there to maintain your focus and protect the iron mind you've worked so hard to build. The old Stoic wisdom teaches us to not be swayed by the theatrics of the world. Don't let the noise distract you from the peace that comes with self-control. Stay stoic, stay grounded, let her act, but don't be moved. If you've ever felt the power of silence, you know it's not about distance, it's about discipline. So if you're ready to stand firm, keep your focus, and master your peace, drop a comment right now. I am the man who holds the power. Like this video, subscribe for more unshakable wisdom, and remember, true strength is in your silence. 5. She starts remembering the good times. When the silence stretches out longer than she expected, and none of her usual tricks, testing you, trying to provoke a reaction, or pretending to be indifferent, work, something begins to stir deep inside her. She starts to remember the good times. But it's not just the memories themselves. It's the way she starts to perceive them. They begin to feel more precious, more significant than they ever did before. Why? Because you're no longer there. In your absence, those moments are no longer taken for granted. They've become rare, more meaningful, and almost sacred in her mind. That's the power of silence. It shifts perspectives. And this is where nostalgia starts to creep in. At first, when you stopped talking, she likely fixated on the negative. She replayed the disagreements, your flaws, and the times she felt distant from you. That's a natural reaction. It's her mind trying to justify the distance and make it seem like it was her choice. But here's the Stoic rule. You must let her sit with this discomfort. When you don't rush back to prove yourself, when you don't jump to fill the silence, her emotional lens begins to shift. She starts reflecting on the moments that once seemed ordinary, and now they take on a golden hue. Do you remember that dinner you planned for her? The inside joke you shared? The time you showed up for her when she needed support? Those moments become more than memories. They turn into emotions that she can't recreate with just anyone. She might hear a song that reminds her of you, pass by a spot where you once laughed together, and suddenly feel that familiar sting in her chest. She might even dream about you. These aren't just random occurrences. They're her mind trying to reconnect with something that gave her emotional comfort. It's the nostalgia creeping in. And the irony is, those moments didn't feel that deep when they happened. But now, with the distance, they stand out. Distance always has a way of romanticizing what's no longer available. The deeper the space between you, the more intense the longing. This is where regret starts to quietly enter the picture. She begins to regret not appreciating what you brought to the table. She regrets thinking you'd always be there. Regret fills her heart as she realizes that she didn't reciprocate your efforts in the way you deserved. But don't expect her to confess this to you. Most women won't do that. Instead, she'll keep that regret bottled up inside. She'll replay conversations in her mind, wondering where things went wrong. And this, my friend, is a crucial moment, a moment when you must allow the process to unfold naturally. If you break your silence now, you risk disrupting the emotional growth taking place within her. You interrupt the realization that's forming in her mind. Let her sit with that regret. Let her wrestle with her emotions. Let her compare how she feels now, without you, to how she felt when you were present. That contrast will do more for you than any explanation could ever achieve. Let her recognize that while attention is easy to find, real connection isn't. You're not just some guy in her DMs. You are a man who created something meaningful, something that she took for granted until it was no longer there. Your absence becomes louder than any words you could have spoken. Your silence becomes the mirror that forces her to confront what she had, what she lost, and maybe, just maybe, what she didn't value enough. This is the practical stoicism you must follow. Embrace the silence. It will speak louder than anything you could ever say. In the end, distance will reveal what truly matters. It will make her see the depth of the connection you had. And if you stay silent, if you remain strong and unshaken, you give her the time she needs to understand the value of what's been lost. Silence isn't weakness, it's power. It's the iron mind in action, staying calm, staying composed, while the world around her unravels. You're not there to chase illusions. You're there to protect your peace, your principles, and your sense of self-worth. Let the silence do the work for you. 6. She becomes emotionally confused. When you stop talking to a woman, the effect it has on her is far deeper than you might imagine. It's not just about getting her attention anymore. Your silence begins to unravel something inside her. It creates a psychological and emotional confusion that runs far deeper than any superficial misunderstanding. You see, this isn't the kind of confusion that comes from lack of information or logic. No, it's emotional confusion, the kind that arises when her heart pulls her in one direction, but her pride demands that she do something entirely different. This creates a mental tug-of-war within her. At first, she might feel in control, as though her indifference is the winning move. She might tell herself that she can replace you, that she's over it, that you're just trying to play a game for attention. It feels empowering to her because she believes she's in charge. But here's where the real shift happens. As time drags on and you do not come back, the strength of those initial thoughts begins to weaken. The confidence that she once felt starts to fade, replaced by something much more unsettling: doubt, vulnerability, and raw emotion. She finds herself asking questions that only create more uncertainty. Why do I still think about him? Why do I keep checking for him when I told myself I was over it? Why does his silence affect me so much? These aren't logical questions. These are emotional responses that signal something far deeper. The emotional confusion doesn't fade quickly. It festers. It grows. and it becomes much more than just a passing phase. It turns into something that shakes her sense of self. At this point, she's no longer in control of her emotions, and that is what terrifies her. She may begin to behave erratically, something she wasn't doing before. One day, she might send you a friendly message, trying to re-establish some connection. The next day, she may ignore your posts or act distant as though she doesn't care. She might post something overly emotional on social media or disappear for days. The hot and cold behavior is no longer part of a game. It's a reflection of her trying to navigate the storm inside her. She doesn't know how to handle the growing conflict within herself. She went from feeling so sure of her position in the relationship to suddenly feeling unsure of everything. You see, women gain confidence when they feel emotionally dominant in a relationship, when they can guide the emotional connection, when they feel emotionally in charge, they feel secure. But when you stop chasing, when you stop reacting, when you no longer fight for her attention, you change the dynamic. You remove the power she once had. Your silence doesn't just stop communication, it takes away her emotional leverage. You are no longer part of the emotional equation, and that leaves her with a void. This void becomes a dangerous thing. The more you pull away, the more she feels it, and that's when things get really interesting. She may start rationalizing the situation, telling herself that you're cold, emotionally distant, selfish, or whatever else helps her defend her ego against the emotional truth. But that's just a defense mechanism. In reality, her mind and heart are at war. Her emotional response to your silence is far stronger than she's willing to admit. And deep down, she knows it. The silence you've created has hit her harder than she thought it would, and now she's left to grapple with that reality. Here's the most important thing you need to remember. You must stay grounded during this time. The moment you react, even slightly, whether it's sending a message to check in or softening the silence in any way, you give her back the emotional control she's lost. You break the emotional confusion and give her clarity, but not in the way you want. When you cave, you return her to the emotional state she's trying to escape. This is when the chaos dies down, but not because she understands things better. It dies because she regains her grip on the emotional game. You cannot let this happen. You must stay firm. You have to let the confusion build. Let her feel the emotional weight of the situation. Do not soften the silence. Do not rush in to soothe her. Let the storm rage, because confusion, when allowed to build and remain undisturbed, leads to breakthroughs. This is where real change happens. This is when she truly begins to see things differently. Not because you've explained yourself, but because she's felt the depth of her own emotions. You've given her space to feel the loss, to question her feelings, and to face what she has lost. And that is the most powerful thing you can do. If you want her to see you differently, to respect you more, and to feel something deeper for you, then you cannot interrupt this process. She must face her emotions head-on. You need to remember the teachings of Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher who understood the power of self-control. He said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." What does that mean here? Your silence is not just a withdrawal. It is a sign of emotional control, a refusal to be dictated by fleeting emotional impulses. You are following the paths of wisdom laid out by the Stoics. It is your control over your desires and emotions that becomes the foundation of strength, and that strength will eventually win. You must remember this. It is not through appeasing her emotions that you win. It is through mastering your own emotions, through maintaining your distance, that you force her to confront her own feelings. The Stoics were right. True mastery in life comes not from reacting to external events, but from controlling your inner state. And by doing so, you win the game without ever needing to play it. This is the ultimate form of emotional mastery, and it is a path of wisdom you must walk. Let her face the storm. Let her experience the emotional chaos. When the dust settles, she will see you in a way she never expected. This is the power of silence. This is the power of Stoicism. And in the end, this is how you win. If you've made it this far, You've already tapped into the power of emotional mastery. Most men will never grasp this, stuck in the cycle of neediness and uncertainty, but you're not like them. You understand that silence can cause confusion, and confusion leads to breakthroughs. Now, it's time to own your power. Drop a comment below with this statement: I will not break the silence. I will let her feel the weight of the storm. Let's see who's truly ready to master their emotions. 7. She finally reaches out with vulnerability. There comes a moment in the silence, after all the games, the emotional confusion, and the pretend indifference, when a woman who truly feels the absence of a man will finally break. And what breaks is the wall of pride. This moment is not about casual messages or hints, it's a moment of raw, real vulnerability. And this is where you, as a man, must pay attention, because the shift is real, and it signifies something deeper. But understand this. This doesn't happen overnight. This doesn't happen after just a few days of silence. No. This comes only after she's worked through an emotional cycle of loss and reflection, and most importantly, after she realizes you're no longer easy to reach. You're no longer a given in her life. Vulnerability is not the first thing she shows. And if you want to truly understand her, know this: it's her last resort, not her first. She won't lower her guard until the silence has built enough emotional weight that she can no longer pretend that she's unaffected. It's in this space that her pride takes a backseat to something far stronger, the need for connection. When she reaches out, her words will carry weight. You'll notice it right away. It's not a vague, distant, hey, just checking in message. No, it's much more than that. She'll say things like, I miss talking to you, or I've been thinking about you a lot. And if her emotions run deep enough, she'll even admit her mistakes. She'll express regret about how things unfolded between you two, and she'll open herself emotionally in a way that feels different, raw, sincere, and unguarded. This is where most men make the mistake of rushing in. They've been waiting for this moment, and now that it's here, they feel the temptation to react impulsively. But you must be smarter than that. You must not get caught up in the heat of the moment. This isn't the time to jump in head first, especially if you still feel something for her. The truth is, vulnerability is a powerful thing, but it's just the beginning. It's not a guarantee of a relationship. It's not the green light to restart everything as it was. Vulnerability, while real, must be met with consistency, effort, and accountability. That is what will truly show you whether her words align with long-term action. When she reaches out like this, don't ignore her. That's ego talking. But also, don't dive back in as if nothing ever happened. That's desperation. Instead, slow down. Meet her with calm energy. Respond, but do not overgive. Listen, but do not over-explain. Keep your standards high and let her see that you are not the same man you were before. The version of you that was once on standby is no longer there, waiting for her to pick you again. You've grown, you've evolved, and now she must meet you where you are, on your terms, not hers. If she truly wants to reconnect, she'll be patient with you. She'll be honest and show up again and again. But if she doesn't, if she fades back into silence or never follows through, then her vulnerability was never about you. It was about soothing herself in the moment. Either way, your role as a man is clear. You must remain grounded. Respond like a man who values himself, who is grounded in the Stoic principles of self-respect and inner strength. Don't let her words make you forget who you are. Do not let this moment overwhelm you. Maintain your iron mind. Stay firm, stay calm, and be the man who has mastered his emotions. You are no longer chasing after attention or approval. You are someone who has learned from the old Stoic wisdom, who knows that true peace and strength come from within. In the end, you must never lose sight of the fact that true connection, true vulnerability, is built on consistency, not mere moments of emotion. You must stand firm in your growth, in your Stoic principles, and be the man who knows his worth without needing validation. She must come to you, not the other way around. Hey there, Thanks for sticking with me until the end. I hope you found some value in today's message. Remember, when you stop talking to a woman, it's not just about silence, it's a powerful statement. You're telling her that you respect yourself enough to step away from confusion or disrespect. Your silence carries more weight than any words could, and if she truly cares, it will trigger a shift in her emotions. But here's the thing, don't react out of weakness. Stay calm, grounded, and keep your focus on your own worth, because the right woman will not only notice your silence, she'll feel it deeply. Take care of yourself, stay strong, and remember your value. You've got this.